Okay. Can you see that's recording again? Powered right now. Oh, good. Now we're starting. We are doing something different this week because we're all in these Parshas of Geula. Now we're getting to this week's Parsha of Yitro, where we're getting to our Sinai. So I thought it was apropos to discuss, Rebbe Nachman discusses this in a particular modality, and I think it's very, very powerful for each one of us. We constantly trying to bring redemption back to our own personal lives, because that's really this final redemption. It's redemption of our personal self. Really, the world, we're just project ourselves onto the world. Galut, we've said so many times that Galut and Gula is here. So first we're going to discuss, before we get to this Parsha, we're going to discuss a little bit in what's called Eitzot Mavorot. It was I would say written, it took Lukutei Eitzot, which is called, translated as advice by the book Advice, it's in English, by Brussels Research Institute. It's Rebbe Nachman basically redacted. Rebbe Nachman told him to do this, is to go through Lukutei and pull out all the advice, and because that's the weapon of the tzaddik. The tzaddik gives us the advice we need to get through our own life, our own maze. And so Rebbe Nachman did this, and then the great-grandson of Rebbe Nachman, Shimshon Barsky, you can go to his kever in Uman, he's buried there, and he then took it and made it more modernized in his day, the language, so it flows a little bit, a little bit easier, and also adds in a little bit of things where he felt Rebbe Nachman meant to say certain things. So this is Eitzot Mavorot, and we're just a little piece of bet in Eretz Yisrael. Just we're talking about Galut and Geula, and the physical Geula only takes us so far. I think we've been hinting to that issue. It only takes us so far in life, because there's a point in time where we have to come to grips with the fact that the exiles really rest within us. And all this back and forth that we constantly go in and out of the land, out of the land, is really just part of the manifestation of our own inner trauma of being in this world, a world that is not meant to be the way it is. And so we're kind of back on that. As we discussed a long time ago at the beginning of this series, the Mahal says so nicely that the nature of Am Yisrael is to be in the land of Israel. And no matter how long they're outside the land of Israel, that will never become their natural place. The world itself, everything we have, all the four types of creations, which is inanimate, plant, animal, and speaking beasts, which are man, all have this, what I would call in technical terms, a computer virus, so to speak, right? The system is out of whack. In Hebrew it's called the kilkul, corruption, but the system's out of whack. And the whole system's in exile because we're not in the right proper place, therefore nobody else is in the right proper place. Now, just because we've come back in some sort of setting doesn't mean that our internal selves are back. And we discussed this many times, the exile is really the ultimate exile. It's within. We still haven't completely, the reason why we can think about accepting the Trump plan is because we don't fully realize that we don't really need to accept it. It's all part of that same manifestation. The land does not seem whole to us because we ourselves are not whole. Am Yisrael and all the 12 tribes are not whole because we ourselves are not whole. Okay, so Shimshon Barsky says this: Kasher pogmin be'eretz Yisrael. I think I've said this in other classes, Terry, maybe before you got here, that Rebbe Nachman is a very famous line in Lukutei Moharan that says, Emunah, Tefillah, and Eretz Yisrael are all bound up. Emunah being simple and pure faith, Tefillah being prayer, and Eretz Yisrael are all bound up in the idea of miracles. Miracles are all miracles, prayer, and the land of Israel are all bound up together, and they're all tied into Emunah, having a simple faith in Hashem. And when we lose that simple faith, we kind of go into exile. So Shimshon Barsky is going to take this and kind of flesh out the idea. Kasher pogmin be'eretz. So when we create a blemish in Eretz Yisrael. Shehi inyan ubechinat emunah tefillah. It's an aspect, it correlates, it parallels, it's analogous to faith and prayer. Hainu kasher Eretz Yisrael eno kashuv. And this is very, very key. Hainu kasher Eretz Yisrael eno chashuva be'enav. Meaning, when Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel, is not important in their eyes. Ein be'einav hashivut le'emunah tefillah. Adeh zeh noflin legalut. When Eretz Yisrael, it's the other way around. Everybody kind of, without really shifting Parsha, Rebbe Nachman says, and Munah leads you to Eretz Yisrael. It's afuch. It's the opposite. When Eretz Yisrael is not important in the person's eyes, what happens? Their simple and pure faith in Hashem falls, and their ability to pray falls. It's opposite. Everybody reads, according to Shimshon Barsky, everybody reverses the order of Rebbe Nachman. No, in order to get to Eretz Yisrael, we have to work on our simple and pure faith, and we have to have work on our prayer, and then we'll get to Eretz Yisrael. It's opposite. When I lose my connection to Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Yisrael becomes less important. Those other two aspects fall apart, and I fall into galut. I fall into exile.
Mm-hmm.
So is that what's happening to a lot of the Jewish community in the States?
In the States.
100%. That you can be a super frum community. I don't take anything away from anybody's learning and Avodas Hashem. But what's going on is when I lose my ability to say, hey, listen, it doesn't mean you have to move here. But when Eretz Yisrael loses that place, Eretz Yisrael loses its central place for you. When it's just a place to go to yeshiva, or then ultimately, and that's already a very big thing. But Eretz Yisrael loses its centrality to what you're trying to do with your life, then all the other things fall apart. All the other things fall apart. It's a very big, powerful statement he says. Then you fall into galut. I mean, if you fall into galut, then the world's in galut. In exile. The world is in exile, right? It's not complete. There's something missing in it. She'ikar ha'galut, klaliyut, pratiyut hu, mechmat, chesron amina, because the essential part of exile is a lack of faith. But where does that lack of faith cause? Once again, Eretz Yisrael is a land of faith. If I disconnect the modus operandi of my serving of a Kodesh Baruch Hu with the land of Israel, it means it doesn't fit together, then I don't have real pure Munah. And ultimately, I remain in galut, in exile. Ubikar tefillah galut. Sorry, the ikar nofelet at tefillah legalut hano she'efshar litpalel. And then your prayers fall into exile. It's impossible to really pray. We see this in halacha also, because where are you supposed to face? Towards the land of Israel, Jerusalem.
Yeah.
So someone can do that and have no, don't really have it. It's just a kind of out of rote. So, because it doesn't have any desire and will to daven, and because of this, he's explaining that Likutei Moharan by this little piece, very simply. And because of that, then there's no miracles in the world. Miracles come from that. Likutei Moharan says miracles come from prayer. Miracles come from prayer. And prayer and faith are connected together, because if I believe that the world is flexible in the sense that I have me as an expression of Hashem's will in the world, have power over that world to change it. That's a very famous Rebbe Nachman also. Is the world fixed or is the world not fixed? It's fixed. It's fixed as far as our eyes can see, but in reality, that we have power over the changing the world, because I can pray to change the world. So it all has to do with each other. If I can pray, if I really believe my prayers can change the world, then I have faith, and then I can get back to the world of miracles, in the world of Eretz Yisrael. But I first have to believe in Eretz Yisrael. It all starts with losing my ability to see Eretz Yisrael as a central pillar in what I'm trying to do in my life. It's impossible to activate or actualize miracles in the world without prayer. Who does the miracles?
Hashem.
Who does the miracles? What did he give us power to do? We do the miracles. The very act
He
of
gives
prayer
the
itself,
power.
I really believe that for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, I go to Hashem, say, Hashem, I need parnasa. And, oh, we don't think that's a miracle, like, but it is a miracle. There's fact I can pray for anything. I believe that I have power to change the will, the cosmic will. I'm part of the cosmic will, part of that cosmic niggun, that melody that's going on, and I can change it. Hainu mechamat chesron emuna efshar levakesh al nisim hen b'shvil atzmo, b'shvil acherim. I can't actually request any miracles in the world. Eretz Yisrael is essential. Eretz Yisrael is the foundational part of my faith. It's not something. So if Cook said in the beginning of Orod, it's not something that's physical. It's not a political entity. It's not even a spiritual place that you go to feel good. Ooh, I got a good pickup here. It's part and parcel, intertwined with who I am. And if I lose that connection, boom, according to Shimshon Barsky, Rebbe Nachman, I'm out. I'm disconnected. I'm toasted.
What's the verse that says your son shall be married to the land? It's as if you won so much that you married to the land. It's that much of a...
That's the idea of Chevron, Chibor.
Chevron, yeah.
Chevron is Chibor.
Yeah.
It all starts in Chevron. Chevron is the Chibor, is the connection, of being part of the land, so buried in the land.
So is Eretz Israel Gesher Tzar Me'od? Like Kol Halam Kula Gesher Tzar Me'od? If we don't have the focus on that, then we fear. We don't have emunah.
I mean, yeah, that would go into it. It's very nice. That would go right into the whole thing, because to get through that gesher, you have to have emunah. So that's basically what he's saying, right? He's saying like you're going to fall off the deep end, and we see what's going on now, like you said. I mean, we're not going to go into politics, but we see who's who. The same people that are against are the same members of I'm just who are against us being here. The same people that are attacking all sorts of things. So it's not surprising. So how does it lead into this week's Parsha? I'm going to try to tie it together. We'll see. This can be about what we'll learn together. We can apply to many different things in our lives, and it's important because we all kind of go through this. And it's the 115th lesson in the Kutim Ran. It's a short lesson. Ki mi shehu holech b'gashmiut. It's based on the pasuk ve'amor ha'am merachok. The nation stood afar. Moshe nikash el arafel. And Moshe embraced or entered or touched the darkness. Arafel is really beyond darkness. It's like fog. It's beyond fog. You can't even see anything. Asher Sham Elokim, because there is God in the darkness. It's a fascinating pasuk. A lot of people just read right through. Whereas God's in the darkness.
Yeah.
That in itself is
big.
already like the nation was God, he's going to get swallowed up. So they stood far. They didn't want to go. They didn't want to go in. They didn't say they couldn't go in. They didn't want. He went in. Tzaddik went in. Okay. Somebody who goes in physicality all his life, and afterwards, sometime in his life, he decides he gets a fiery yearning, and he wants to go in the ways of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Azamidat hadin bekatreg alav eno meniach oto eno meniach oto lelech b'darchei Hashem yitbarach. And then, according to his judgment, because now he's decided he leaves all this partying behind, he's done hanging out with his buddies and going drinking at night. He wants to settle down, but he wants to serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu and totally reach the highest highs. What happens is that triggers something. It triggers an opposing force against him. Because according to his din, he needs to get some. He has to make up for the fact that he spent a lot of his life doing the things that he shouldn't have been doing. Yeah. So he. So what happens is basically this miniyah, umazmin lo miniyah, this very act of returning to Hashem, an obstacle is basically ordered for him. An obstacle is ordered for him. Hashem yitbarach hafei tesed hu. Hashem loves him so much. He loves the person that comes back to him and says, I have to take care of this. He owes me something. Not always means something, but he's gotta face up to the fact that he's got past an obstacle. Can't just get get something for nothing.
Chicks for free.
No checks, yeah. Umaster et atzmo kaviyachol, so to speak. It's not really talking about reality. Hashem, instead of letting the Katrig do it himself, the opposing force say, "Hey, listen, boom." It's like that's like the program works that way. It's like, "I return to you, Kodesh Baruch Hu, I want to serve you, I want to serve you, I want to serve you." And it should be the opposing just automatically. His system kicks in, right? Now there's a guy up there discussing with Hashem. That's the mashal. That's an analogy. The system kicks in. That's how obstacles work. I want to grow. I want to get better. I want to grow higher. Where's the obstacle? Where's the obstacle?
It's in yourself.
So in here, right?
Right.
We know that's Rebbe Nachman's whole line. It's here. And we learned it in Rav Kook too. It's not just Rebbe Nachman.
Yeah.
It's here. Obstacles are here. Because if we really believe the Kodesh Baruch Hu ran the whole show, even if we have a hard, challenging time, we would know what was going on. It would be such an obstacle. It would just be kind of like, I gotta get through this, right? So the obstacle is getting to the point where I know what's really going on. It's just from Hashem. But the obstacle is here. And that's why Rebbe Nachman says every single time you need to grow. It's not just about tshuva. It's not just the guy who... every time I want to grow, in the 25th Torah, every time I want to grow, I hit another obstacle in my head. Another set of illusory sort of things that I need to deal with that I've never dealt with before. That's our whole life is about cleaning ourselves out and reaching a point where I embrace the Ein Sof in this world. That's the whole thing, because God is everywhere. So Hashem says, I love him. I love this person so much that he or she wants to come back to me. He's decided that's it. Master that smoke instead of the opposing force, instead of the system just reacting, Hashem himself overrides and so to speak constricts himself inside the obstacle. The obstacle itself isn't just part of the system anymore. The obstacle is actually a special obstacle being directed directly by the Eibishter, by the creator of the universe. But basically in the sense that the rational will of the creator takes the form of this obstacle, which is right here, right?
Because he knows what each one needs.
That's right.
In order to take the next
That's right.
step and grow. Yeah.
But this is a din. This is not. I was just saying before that even non-Bali Tshuva, this is talking about Bali Tshuva, even non-Bali Tshuva have this issue every time they want to grow. But that's more of a systemic thing, where every time I grow, new things that are in the recesses of my subconscious, using modern parlance, become part of the next level I have to grow. I have to break through. Here, the whole level thing gets overridden, and Hashem is really forcing this obstacle inside in the pathway, because he has a lot of years. She or he has a lot of years he's got to make up for that he didn't have these obstacles. Because you're not really thinking in life, and you're just partying out. There are no obstacles. What's the big deal? It's like the princess, right? Come and party with the king of the no good, and everything's all good. You have no obstacles because no one cares. You're just a bystander in this universe of distraction. The second you're not distracted anymore, you really want the real deal. That's when all the kind of craziness comes. And so Hashem goes, okay, the first time around, I'm going to give it to you because you're not going to be able to know you're not going to be able to handle what's going on. The system itself is constructed in a way that it's really an internal battle inside myself to clean out my own misguided understandings of my own universe. But if you're not, if after all these years, you don't have any battle, you're not battle tested. You're not battle tested. So Hashem doesn't want you to go against anything you can't deal with. So he takes the mania himself, so to speak. Sorry, I was saying, right?
So is it like in last week's Parsha where it said he didn't take them by the short route of the Philistines because he knew that he needed to give them a pass early or they lose it, but he knew they needed the 40 years in the desert to prepare them.
100%. Okay. That's 100%. The Chazal says that, and Chassidut also Chassidut also says that they went around 40 years because they had all these tikkunim, and it wasn't even that generation that went in. They couldn't even go. They couldn't handle it. The Geula, in many ways, is a process for a reason. There's a process for a reason because we can't handle it all at once. There's no vessels. We haven't built ourselves at all. That's the idea of an ore without kelim. the redemption right now is a lot of light to it, and because there's a lot of light to it, all these souls that are here don't even understand it. So we're making mistakes. It's like the same thing. Sorry, you brought up a very point. In the desert, they couldn't handle it, so they took them around 40 years. So here's this week's parsha. Here's the Arafel stay. Moshe goes in. So Rebbe Nachman says, listen, Kodesh Baruch Hu, he wants that person not to fall off, like you said. It's too much light. I'm going to take the Miniah myself. B'Miniah Hazot, he Kaviyoko constricts himself inside, so to speak, inside this obstacle. Umishahu Bardat, and someone who has actually has knowledge or God consciousness. Hu Mistakel B'Miniah Motzi Shem Abore Baruch Hu. Someone who can look into that obstacle and find Hashem in an obstacle. Someone who actually can think of, clearly will see Hashem in the obstacle. Where's God? Someone says to you, where's God? Tomorrow. Answer him. A very big city in Aram. Shnemar Eli Koreimesi here. Umi she'eno bardat. But if he's not a bardat, if he isn't someone who's built his God consciousness up, he's going to reach an obstacle and he'll turn right back around. He won't want to handle it. He won't want to deal with it. An obstacle is an aspect of the clouds which landed on Har Sinai and the Arafel. Ki anan va'arafel hainu choshech, because the clouds and the arafel, that's darkness. Choshech hu lashon miniyah. Choshech, darkness. Right? Choshech al panei tehom. Darkness on the face of the deep, of the abyss, and the end of creation. That's the obstacle. Choshech hu lashon miniyah. Choshech, darkness, is a language of obstacle. Kamo shkatuv v'lo chasachta. He quotes Bereshit. Zeh perush pasuk v'yamod am merachok. And this is what the explanation is of why the Am stood far away. Ki keshero'in arafel. When the Am saw the darkness, hainu maniyah, that's the obstacle. Merachok, they didn't want to go. They didn't want to embrace the obstacle. Moshe Shehu B'china Dat Kol Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu, is an aspect of the consciousness of all of Am Yisrael, the knowledge of all Yisrael, consciousness, God consciousness. Shehu B'china Dat Kol Yisrael Nigash El Arafel Asher Sham Elokim. He entered the darkness because there is God, is in the darkness. Hainu El Miniyah Sheba Ba'atzma Nistar Hashem Yibrach. That is to the obstacle. He went into the obstacle. He embraced the obstacle. He went through it. That in itself, in the obstacle itself, that we were given, that's where God is. That's where God is. God is not necessarily in when it's easy. God is in the darkness in our lives. That's where God, that darkness is what God gives us in order to find Him there, in order for us to actually grow. Good?
Moshe knew the voice of God. I think he understood it was Hashem calling him.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't it say somewhere that that the people mustn't go on the mountain?
On the mountain. We're not doing, this is the Arafat, this is
so that's before. Okay. So they were afraid. I mean, because they didn't know. I mean,
that's what, in connection to this, people are afraid.
Yeah.
So, it was very easy to get to Eretz Yisrael. It was very easy to make Eretz Yisrael central to my life. Then that wouldn't be an obstacle, would it? So the obstacle in people's minds now is that the fact that I don't believe, they see the darkness. They can't see God in the dark. They can't see God in the darkness. So a deep lack of emunah grows within them. This goes across the board, all over the world. And really, it's just Hashem. Hashem's giving us the obstacle.
So are all obstacles from Hashem? Or do
Well-
we just face some because we do stupid things?
We do stupid things because we haven't repaired that part of ourselves yet. And that in of itself is an obstacle. Right, that's we haven't yet removed that part of ourselves that is troubling us. And that's for everybody, because we wouldn't be here. And therefore that causes us to act a certain way. But all obstacles are pretty much from Hashem, right? But this is talking about a particular type of obstacle. When we're ready to serve Hashem in the Emet, the katrugor, the opposing force, doesn't know it can't be. He has to face himself or herself. And it's very frightening, so Hashem does it for him. It makes it a little easier. It's the old understanding that everything happens. Everything I'm put through, the guy God gives me, He gives me because He knows I can handle it. It's like the rule, right?
Because He's there, isn't it?
He's there in it.
Yeah.
He's there in it. Go back to 20, because, we'll go back to the 25th Torah because it all has to do with this idea of what a klipa and an obstacle. A klipa is an obstacle, right? So it's more than that, but it manifests itself. Ki tzarich kol adam lahotzia et atzmo me'adameh. It's necessary for a person to take himself out of his imagination, the level of imagination. To raise himself up to the seichel. Of course, there's a beautiful part in Order Kodesh, and there's also that the dimion, the imagination, and the seichel have to work together. So we're not going to say he's not saying to ignore the imagination. In fact, in other places it says the koch of dimion, the power of imagining something is very powerful, but without the seichel to actually harness it, the intellect to harness it, it becomes a runaway train. So they're saying the same thing. They have to work together. When you get pulled out after your dimion, after your imagination, shirut lev. You become pulled into this, your heart. That you go after the imagination that's in the lev, the heart. Libo Evan. And you end up breaking when you go out from this level of imagination, and you break the stone heart you have, right? The heart of stone, that's in Yechezkel. It's the language of Galut, the language of Geula. When I live my dimion, my imagination only, when the world's injecting constantly new impulses to imagine new things, which are not helping us. This goes back to the idea of motoric excess thoughts. Then I remain in galut, exile. But when I break this heart of stone, is that bechinat shamir? What is the shamir? Do you guys know? It's the worm that breaks down stone. That way you don't have to. You take a utensil to it, and therefore you can build the mizbeach out of it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is an aspect to the shamir worm, because you've broken your heart of stone. That through this breaking apart of the stone, the desires of your imagination. You no longer go after the desires of your imagination. It's unbelievable how much force that Rebbe Nachman had 200 years ago at what kind of world we'd be living in at the end of days. That we can look on the internet. I'm not talking about really bad stuff, about anything. And it just creates a world upon a world of nonsense, right? And instead you go after your seichel, your intellect. It's the godly seichel, right? Not just being, because a lot of times people think they're using their seichel and they're actually using their imagination. V'chol zman shelo hotzi sichlo el po, and all the time that you don't take your intellect out, actualize your intellect, shelo mishtamesh b'sichlo adayin, and you don't use your seichel still, as eitzlo seichel b'koach, and your intellect remains in the level of potential, afal pisha kavar shavar hamedameh. And even though you've already broken your imagination, as nit komem tichunat sichlo ki shehu kam ki ze nofel. One stands, one falls, but your intellect still remains in potential. Okay, now, V'dash b'chol olam v'olam b'chol medrega medra yesh sham dimyonot elu. He's going to say every single level in the world, every single level a person is growing in, there are these imaginations, illusions. Dimyonot. V'hem hem haklipot kodmin lepre. They are the peels that surround the fruit. It's a very Kabbalistic concept. Right, we've discussed this before. Egos is not, it's the same gematria as Tov, which is 17. To get to the Tov, you have to break through the klipot. It's a very classic Hasidic concept. And but he's using it here very differently than other Hasidic movements. That here, everything from Rebbe Nachman is here. That the dimyonot in my head at any given moment surround the thing I'm really supposed to be going at. Where's the obstacle? Here. So every time I'm trying to grow, there's an obstacle to prevent my growth. That when I really like, and many times there's Hashem behind those obstacles. Always Hashem behind everything. But there's like the part of those obstacles that I myself am self-generating because I have yet to fix those things. And there's those other obstacles Hashem knows I need in order to break through, in order to grow. So at every single level, there's these obstacles. Let's call them obstacles, not just klipot. So vim el kedusho b'chinat saviv v'sha'in tachun. Kisha'adam na'atek medrega medrega as sarich lo leilech derech elu dimyonot kedei lagia el kedusha. They has to go in through these illusions. Every single time he wants to grow, new illusions come. Because he's going to another level in his self-development, his inner self-development. He's going to another RFL. He's going to another RFL. At the end of the days, right, we sit here and we have a lot of distractions, a lot of obstacles to get back to where we're supposed to be, back to Eretz Yisrael. That's all part of the show. So we have two options, right? That's two options. We can be like the Am and be Mirachok, and not face up to the obstacles, the very scary obstacles that are oftentimes in our lives. Or we can go forward and be a Bardat, have God consciousness, and go in. Take of Kisha Ole Lemidrega, and immediately when you go up to another level, I said, Az Nitorerin, Klipot, Shimidrega, Misalavin Oto. Like I said, there's a system that kicks in. Then he wants to go to another level of loves Hashem. Wants to get closer to Kosh Baruch Hu. Wants closer to Hashem. What happens? It awakens the klipot, the imaginations, the obstacles that are at that level. And it's necessary to push back on them and to break them. And to purify this place of klipot. Listen here, wherever you are, that's your place. That's what you're going through. That's the galut one's going through. And so, oftentimes, this is what he talks about in other places, that you fall. Why do you have to fall? Because you fall because you have to, you are yet ready to go to the RFL. You're yet ready to go in. But you fall and then you recognize, I have to go through it, I have to go through it. But the challenge is there's a lot of people that don't already. So I just fall away. That's the tahom. The tahom wants to make us believe, right, the abyss that Esav gives us is that there is no way out of this darkness. That's the sleep that the Achashverosh tried to put everybody in. There's no way out, just go to sleep. Stay here in Bavel. Stay here in Bavel. Nice here. It's nice here. Our challenge now is that we're really in a big bind. Because the Tahom is so deep, we don't even know how to get out of it. Those of us who know we're in a Tahom.
You don't know that much, yeah.
Gesher Sarma'od, right? It's the chaos at the end. It's the chaos at the end. It's the chaos at the end of days. Because the end of days is all about that Tahom. Because I really don't know why things are going this way. I don't really know why I'm feeling this way. Because all these injections of information, all these impulses, all these, this inner storm that everybody's going through, and we're all going through our own inner traumas, are all part and parcel of our figuring out to come back. We're a very blessed generation because we have everything at our fingertips, but at the same time, it's very detrimental to us. And at the same time, it's allowed this Ruach Mashiach to grow, where everybody, Jews and non-Jews, are woken up and go, wow, there are groups of us that are waking up. They're understanding that the redemption is much bigger than a political entity, much bigger than something that is just waving a flag. That the first time since Adam Rishon we have a chance to free ourselves from the Nachash. Because Nachash and Mashiach are the same gematria, right?
Yeah.
Same numerical value. And so, but we have to get through the Nachash, we have to get through the obstacle, we have to get through the Arthel, the darkness, without falling into the abyss. That's the key point. That's the key point that Rebbe Nachman is trying to make, and everything he's in all of this he's trying to say is that that's the issue, that's the challenge to go through. And then there's note that Rebbe Nachman, in his book I Learned the Truth, Healing Leaves, it's in English, he says in one of the letters on Miniyot, obstacles to his son, he says you have to hold strong in understanding Miniyah, the obstacles. He quotes Rebbe Nachman, he did, as he does often in the letters to his son, that you have to understand, you have to face them. They're all from Hashem. You have to go through them. And only at that point when you recognize the obstacle itself is from Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's when you start growing. That's when you actually find, because you find God, who do you really find? Who do you find? Yourself.
Yeah.
The authentic self,
The
who you're
truth.
really supposed to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
You get zikaron, you get memory back. That's the chag. Shall we bless this week to have to go through the RFL? When you're reading the Parsha, now you can see it right in the Parsha. That's exactly what's going on. It's the blueprint for our own personal development, our own personal life, our own personal redemption.